Hello guys, my name is Balkrishna Shivastav and welcome to CodeWithBK. So this video is for ISC Class 12 Computer Science students who will be appearing for their boards paper, Computer Science Paper 1 in the next couple of months. Okay, so you get three types of problems, one problem of each type and you'll have to solve any two of them. Okay, so there'll be a problem on data structures, either stack or queue, or this is called a deck, not a DQ. DQ is the operation when you get the element from the front out of the queue, right? This is called a deck, or in short for double-ended queue. Okay, so the concept should be clear that what is FIFO, first in first out, which we use in queue, what is last in first out, that we use in stack, or we sometimes also call it FILO, first in last out, works for stack. Okay, their implementations using arrays. So if you pick out the previous year's questions, you will see the implementation of stack and queue using arrays. All right, the second question will be on inheritance, and this is probably the easiest question in this section. Minimal amount of code, all they check is a concept about inheritance. Okay, then there will be a third question that is usually, typically, conventionally, one question on a linked list function, that they give you a function that this is the head node of the linked list and you have to add a node in the front, add a node at the last, or maybe find a value, search for a value in the node, or maybe find the length of the list which is headed by that node, and a question on binary tree basics. Okay, so they give you a binary tree and that's what are internal nodes, external nodes, leaf nodes, what is the children of this, what is the sibling of this. Okay, so if we look at the previous year's questions, okay, let me look at ISC boards paper 24 and go to section C. Okay, so you see this first question, card game. Okay, and card from the top of the card pile. So pile is a stack and it has add card and draw card. Add the card at the top index if possible, remove and return the card from the top. So adding to the top, removing from the top is a stack. Okay, so you name the entity stack, and principal is basically last in first out or first in last out. Okay, either. Okay, then there is the second question on inheritance, right? And this is a very standard question. They give you a base class, you don't have to write the base class and it is clearly given, and we assume that the super class or the base class has been given. You don't have to define it again, you just have to write the functions, okay, and the constructor for the subclass is the child class. So they say details of constructor and the functions. Okay, and this is a very standard question and all the questions from the previous year are exactly on the same pattern. So this is the easiest question for you to prepare. Okay, and again, one more thing standard in this is when you are implementing the constructor of this child class, so you take data members for this class and the super class. So you take employee number, code, salary, that goes to your super class, and also the hours. Total salary is something that you have to calculate. The requirements will be very similar, and if you see the previous year's paper, so if I go to boards 2023, right, you say there the question on inheritance again is the same, right? So they have a demand, they have a supply, and the members of the constructor of supply, data members of both the classes. Okay, again, if you take specimen 2025, there will be one question on inheritance. Okay, you see data members of both the classes. Okay, this is a very standard question and the easiest for you to score. What they want to check is that you understand the idea of inheritance. So in one of these functions, in the subclass, you will be using a data member from the superclass. Okay, so you just have to assume that the data member of the superclass is protected so that you can freely use it in your subclass functions. Okay, for example, it says you have to calculate the fine and total amount to be paid, and which is based upon the number of days and the price of the book. So the price of the book is a member of the superclass. Assume, and you have to assume that this is protected. This value is initialized when you're calling this constructor and you're passing values name, author, and p to the constructor of the superclass. All these videos are solved in detail. You just need to search for this. Say this is specimen ID. Search specimen paper question 10 and you'll find a video for this, and I have explained this in detail. All these questions are solved in detail for all these papers that I'm discussing. Okay, all right. Okay, again, going back to the boards 2024 paper. Okay, one question which is going to be on a data structure. So this was on stack, then you have inheritance, and this third question was on trees. And for the first time they gave something little extra. I mean, you're supposed to know this, right? What is the dominant term in complexity? So I've solved so many previous years papers of IC boards. I've never seen this question complexity, but there was this question on this. So if you want me to add a boolean complexity, I will add it. Okay, it's a very simple concept. Usually what happens is they give one question on writing a function in a linked list and then another on binary trees. So if we go to say ISC boards 2023, sorry, so boards 2023, yeah. So you see, yeah, one question is on data structures, okay, of the class deck, not DQ, okay. User to add and remove from, so in a deck you can add and remove elements from both the ends, okay, from either ends, front and rear. And then you have this question on inheritance. The third question, you have a question on writing a function on linked list, which is to add node at the end of the existing linked list given by this pointer with this value, okay. And then there is a question on binary. All right, so I have uploaded videos of all the previous year's papers that solve this question, so you can look for this question 10 specifically. You can search for IC question 10 and you will list all boards and specimen papers solved. Very good for your practice. Then for this, I've uploaded a video where I specifically explain how to solve linked list questions, and I've also uploaded a video on telling you everything about binary trees that you need to know that can probably be asked in your question paper. Okay, so for me, this and this is the most two scoring questions. So if you look at this, you have to solve any two questions. So this data structure question for me is the most tricky, because in this you see the front and rear are two variables that are going left and right in this array QRR, and you have to add and move elements from the front. Both you can add and move elements from both front and rear. Okay, so concepts have to be very clear in this. In this question, this is very simple. Inheritance question. You write a constructor, take values for superclass, and write this constructor for the subclass, takes data members for superclass. Okay, in your calculation you'll have to use a member from the previous class, which is in this case I guess P demand. Okay, because calculation is doing rate into demand. Okay, and you have to assume that this member is protected so that you can use in your subclass. And then there's a display. Okay, the easiest. Then this one. Okay, for me these two questions are the easiest ones. Okay, now the best way to practice is just solve the previous year's questions and you should be okay. Or you can do some questions on stacks and queues and deck. Okay, I have solved a lot of linked list questions on my channel as well. You can solve them, but I mean, not sure that rotating a linked list or reversing a linked list is probably that they're gonna ask. But again, I feel they have gone a little creative with the questions recently. They might notch up things a little and make them a little more difficult for you. Okay, binary tree basics is again just theory. You just have to learn this. Okay, all right. Now, what extra can they give? For example, in this IC 2024 boards paper, you see they gave out time complexity, right? So what they can do is, if they want to give something extra, maybe they use a linked list to implement a stack or a queue, but that is highly unlikely, because that's a good concept because that involves both linked list and queues. Then they might give you a question on maybe doubly linked list, which is again very unlikely. Again, this is just extra preparation. You should be again saying this. I'm gonna repeat this. If you have two materials, prepare material one very well, practice on it, and then move on to material two. There's no point preparing two materials and not practicing. So in the end, if you're not comfortable with writing your answers or scribbling your pen, you'll not be comfortable. Okay, so in inheritance, what they can do if they want to make things complicated is they can give you one shape class and they can give you two subclasses, say circle and say square, that extend the same class. Okay, something like this they can, but I don't think they'll deviate from the pattern that they've been following for so far. Okay, all right, summarizing this, you get three questions, one of each type, one on data structure, either stack, queue or deck, one on inheritance, a very standard question. Look at the previous year's paper, you'll get an idea of what they're trying to do. And then you have one question on linked list and or binary trees. Okay, follow the instruction to the last detail. If you feel you are very confident you can do all three, don't be over smart. I am not saying don't solve all three. I used to solve the entire paper. So if you want to solve all three, solve the questions in the order that they are given. Try not messing up the order of the questions. Obviously, if you have to, if you forgot to do some question, you can say question section this, question number this, and you can solve. That's okay, right? But try not to. You should not be giving the examiner any chance to deduct your marks, because your solution is not the only one. Your paper is not the only one he has to mark. He has so many other papers, and he gets paid per paper he marks. So right, so you give no chance to the examiner to deduct your marks, because there's no way you can go back and tell him, no, this was right and this was wrong, right? Okay, I hope this video was helpful and you like this video. Let me know in the comments for any follow-up questions or any other kinds of videos that you want me to create regarding any of these topics. All right, so please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and thank you for watching.